Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. There is new content over there. Follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram. On the Instagram, he's at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the video so it gets out to the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your foes, and coming or going, hit the like button. So today we are talking Love Island USA, and we are recapping the Aftersun episode that came on yesterday. I wish they would just give us an unseen bits an hour. Not much happened. I was tuning in for Jeremiah, but nonetheless, we're gonna get to the nitty gritty. So some of the unseen stuff that they put in there was the OG girls at Casa Amor trying to maneuver the hula hoop. There is another audio that might go viral of Amaya Papaya where she is talking to herself in the revolving door room, talking about when she'll become a grandmother, she's going to tell her grandkids about how she was 25 and was on a social experiment for Love Island and talk about and be 85, 86 years old with pink hair, y'all. So they're just eating it up. We have Cassie from season 5 that was on the show, right? She, I believe, was second place with Leo. And rumor has it she's good friends with Sierra. I don't know if that's true or not, but nonetheless, she was on there along with Shelly and Callum, and Sophie from Love Island, Australia, hosted again, right? And so the other clip that they had was like the men doing some type of like fashion show, getting ready. Really wasn't interesting. Then there was another clip where Sierra was trying to film Iris at Casa Amor, and she was like filming her on the pool. And so Sierra was like walking back and forth doing this filming, and then she fell. She tripped and fell. It low-key was funny, and they rewound it and did it in slow motion again. And, you know, they do the usual recapping of the week. Nobody cares about that. They had the Casa people on at the end, and honestly, it was giving nothing. Coco was the only one that was giving us something, and she had the most to say, and that's because it is furniture as far as that goes. And Vanna pretty much confirms that she's into black men. So nonetheless, it was never going to go anywhere with TJ. And basically called him boring, said that he did not have enough spice. They asked JD, you know, and Zach if they're interested in the Casa people sitting next to them or whatever else, and they played it diplomatically that everybody's beautiful, everybody looks good, da. So basically no. And Coco says that if she was an OG, that her and Ace would have been together and she would have pulled Pace. No. I'm not buying it. Here's the thing. I guess I'm one of the few people that still think, up until this point, I don't believe Ace and Shelly are in this relationship and decided to get on the show, because if Ace lives in LA and Shelly lives in either New York or Florida or wherever she lives on the East Coast, and the issue at hand was that nothing continued on because they couldn't see each other, when were they seeing each other to have this relationship, you guys? Because that's the same thing that happened with Zeta and Timmy, even though we found out that they really were for real scammy. But he lived in LA or was moving to LA or whatever else and never saw her. He was, he might have been from the East Coast and then moved to LA. But she was staying in LA and everything else because she was going back and forth initially to the UK. And her issue was he was never coming out to LA. So it was a whole thing. He basically exposed that they were not for real anyways. And then she had you try to pay on her website for her to just tell us that they were already scamming in the villa. No. So I don't feel it's at that level with Shelly and Ace. At least on Shelly's part, I think this is genuine. I think Ace does genuinely like Shelly, but I think he is so focused in on like this big brother, traitor, survivor type of gameplay that he's losing the plot. Like y'all only got 2 weeks left. Y'all, why did they have Amy Schumer on the show? They had Amy Schumer on Aftersun, y'all. And she came in via a Zoom call and is talking about how much she loves Elon, y'all. It is just giving this endorsement for Elon and everything else. Is also, surprise, likes Jaden and Austin, y'all. Then also said that she is rooting for Shelly and Ace. Also, they're really trying to rehab Huda's image, and I'm not here for it because I still feel that there are signs of her that has not grown, that has not matured, and everything else, and I feel like we need to explore, you know, her defaults and how she does these crash outs with these men. And so nonetheless, you know, but I do notice that she's turning into furniture, that we're not seeing her. So I'm fine with that. Like, we can blink and miss her. Then they brought out, y'all, Jeremiah. And Jeremiah, he is so happy to be there. He is thanking everybody. He is so nice. He's being so humble, all these things. They ask him a lot of Huda questions, and I understand it. She was a part of his journey. But he's basically being very respectful. He's being very respectful, thankful for the opportunity, all this and that. I thought they were going to dive into more with this connection with Adrina. But then they shocked me, you guys. And Nicolandria fans, this is why we have to have a conversation. So why did they show Jeremiah a clip? Because this was filmed after the Casa recoupling. So this is after Nick and Nicolandria allegedly friend-zone each other. Why did they show the clip of Nick and Nicolandria kissing? Like, what are we doing? And they're trying to get Jeremiah's reaction. So he initially blows raspberries because he's like, what the welly, he's saying in all these interviews, he doesn't see it for them. He would be shocked if anything went down. And it's like they showed it to him, and I don't know what they showed it to him for. But I guess they were trying to get some type of reaction, right? And he kind of said that he was rooting for them, but I think he's confused just as half the country's confused. Because either you were a Nicolandria shipper and saw signs and put together different breadcrumbs, or you never saw it, period. And you felt as though, you know, if they wanted to, they would have, right? So he's a little confused and discombobulated. He said that he is rooting for Shelly and Ace to win. And then he said he's also rooting for Austin because he feels Austin hasn't had a shake at finding love in the villa. So that tells me all of the foolishness that Austin had been doing over Shelly the past couple of weeks was complete and utter BS, you guys. Complete and utter BS. And they kept keeping him in this villa all this time anyways. Y'all are losing the plot. Y'all got to get Austin out of there, or he's going to be taking a finale spot from Amaya or from Adrina. Y'all need to be on top of it. So that is that. They had Hannah on, to be honest with you. I don't remember what she said in her interview because I wasn't interested. Seems like a nice person. She like had tears. Oh, I briefly do remember. So she said she was initially pissed at the girls. They played her goodbye messages, you guys, so that, you know, I guess like everything was on the up and up. All the girls still loved her and everything else, and that they were sorry. And she says now that, you know, she's over the anger of being dumped and everything else, and she just misses the girls. Not sure what the future holds for her and Pepe or whatever else. They played some TikTok of Charlie, still trying to fuel the Charlie and Shelly thing. Charlie and Shelly. Not sure whether or not that's going to be a thing. Also, the special guest was, Ariana got on there, said that, you know, she felt that Taylor breadcrumbed Nicolandria, which is she's correct. Breadcrumbed Nicolandria, felt that Nicolandria deserves a lot better. She actually does like the connection that Taylor and Clark have, and I'm going to need y'all to stop sending hate to Clark. Clark did what a CASA person is supposed to do. And if you have a stronger connection with the CASA person than you do your original couple, this is what the result of that is. I don't know why y'all get so upset and get so attached. She was not mean. She was not disrespectful. We do not know with the different camera angles, whenever they got her reaction, if she seemed like she was, rolling her eyes or looking the other way. We don't know if that was spliced in particular to make it look like it was shaded at Nicolandria, or she could have been rolling her eyes at something else. To be completely honest with you, she's been in that villa 3 days, and to keep it a buck, I think she's uncomfortable with the cameras. I honestly think that is the tea. I don't think we don't need to reinvent the wheel, you guys. But y'all, and the other thing I don't understand is, if you like and support Nicolandria, why would you be mad that Taylor didn't pick her if you knew throughout all this episode Taylor was finding ways to embarrass Nicolandria and play in her face and make fun of her and disrespect her? No. You should be glad that he did not pick her, because that was what she needed. It was unfortunate that it had to happen that way, but she needed to see herself that Taylor doesn't like her. And hopefully this is enough for her to move on. Hopefully. But she was the one that called Clark a test. And clearly, I guess, the test worked itself out. I don't think, old girl, I don't think Clark failed the test. So anyways, the other piece is that she was very happy with Nick and Nicolandria, and said that Nick did more for Nicolandria than Taylor has ever done. And I was like, oh, which now we segue into the final component of the Aftersun, and then I want to speak on some Nicolandria stuff. So the final piece was Amaya and I'm kind of going out of order, but the final piece was Amaya and Sierra were in the beach hut. And I find this interesting because I surmise that the people that they kind of have for these beach hut Aftersun interviews is they have it typically for the people that production likes, or the people that you're going to see a lot more of as the show progresses. Typically is kind of how it's worked out, in particular this season. Shelly has been on twice, once with Ace, once with Nicolandria, right? Also, we've had Nick on once, I believe, with him and Ace. We have also had, and now we've had Sierra on with her and Amaya. So that tells me, production likes Amaya. They're going to try to, keep her in there a little bit longer, and they like Sierra, right? But I feel like Sierra, I don't know, they were doing like a rapid fire. They said that, Adrina had the best butt. They said Ace was the best dancer. Sierra said that Shelly was the best kisser. And then Amaya said that she said Zach, her couple, was the best kisser. And then they asked if either of them would be in a throuple, like who would it be with. Amaya said Pepe and Zach. And then Sierra said Zach and, or not Zach, Nick and Iris. Then there was an interesting question, if you could couple up, or if you could sneak off to the hideaway with any Casa guy, who would it be? And so Amaya said, well, it would be Zach, since I'm already in a couple with him. But I thought Sierra was going to say nobody, since she was back with Nick. No. She went on and said Elon, who is still in the villa, who the Casa people voted for him to come to the villa. And so here's what's happened now. Now, Nicolandria, they had time, you guys, to dissect the breadcrumbs from the last episode, and they are going crazy on the tickety talk. So they have surmised that Nick went along
with Alandria's friend zoning because he was in self-preservation mode and didn't want the rejection. And then people did slow motion of Nick and Alandria. This is how crazy it's gotten, you guys. I feel like I'm in a fan fiction Wattpad type of extravaganza. I don't feel like we're in the reality anymore. But nonetheless, these are the clips that have gone, I'm trying to give y'all a summary. So they've done a slow motion of when Nick and Alandria walked back into the villa. They did a slow motion of how happy Nick was. And then when Alandria had opened up her hand to kind of unclench from their hand holding to walk back, that Nick's demeanor changed. And now there's analysis of Nick's speech when him and Sierra couple back up. And how he makes a comment, when we were dumped and I didn't get to say everything I wanted to say about us. And people are trying to say that this is about Alandria and not about Sierra because Sierra was never dumped. Even though the caption says I was dumped, but it sounds like Nick says that we were dumped. And then, you guys, the cherry on top is, of course, the deliberation in regards to saving Alandria from being dumped a second time from the villa. And that was because they kind of broke down the deliberation. They broke down the fact that TJ and Pepe had Nick's back. They also broke down how Nick's demeanor and facial expressions changed and how pissed he was at Taylor with the audacity of trying to flip it on Alandria, that she was going to try to flip the script on him or cuss him out or drag him. I just think he's scared of her. But nonetheless, Nick basically, y'all want to call Ace the leader, but it sounds like Nick led the charge for Alandria to stay. And remember, everybody has to be unanimous in the decision. So nonetheless, everybody has to come to that agreement or y'all were going to be sitting there deliberating all night. But Pepe is interesting because Pepe, I think, is team Alandria and Nick, because when Alandria and Nick were in the bedroom and they surprised everybody, Pepe was the one, when he heard that Alandria and Nick were coupled up, he was very excited for them. And Pepe was also by Nick and Alandria when Nick took off his shirt when they were eating or whatever else at the kitchen area. And so now I am thinking that the reason when Nick made that comment, no offense, no shade, but shade to Clark, that you are going to be, you've only been here a couple of days, Taylor might change his mind and want to go back to Alandria. No. I think, the Nick Alandria fans think that is a projection, you guys. They think that is a projection, and they think that Nick is going to change his mind in a couple of days or less. If, things don't work out with Sierra, because remember Ace was trolling him when they decided to save Elon, and he was like, oh, Nikki Pooh's in trouble. So, nonetheless, I think Pepe is, we're going to keep an eye on Pepe tonight to see if he pulls Alandria for a conversation. And I think the conversation I'm looking for tonight is the Alandria and Shelly debrief. That is the conversation I am looking for, because that is going to tell me what I need to know. And that is going to tell me I friend zoned Nick too soon to let Taylor know I was all about him, or I friend zoned Nick and I have regrets about it. We had an amazing kiss and I downplayed it, and then Shelly's going to tell her to go for it, right? Because Sierra still has Elon in here, and nonetheless you have nobody, and we don't know whether or not, even if a bombshell does come in, if that bombshell is going to be for you. And this is your you've had another chance again, right? Another chance again to get this thing right. And obviously what the people are trying to tell you is that Taylor is not right, and Taylor advocated for you to go home. What's going to be interesting with this as well is Nick. What is Nicolas going to do, right? Is Nicolas going to you know, really just ride this thing out with Sierra till the end and say skip it and everything else? Or is all of this interaction that you guys are magnifying on TikTok, where Nick is, you know, holding, you know, Alandria's hand and as she comes up to the steps of the bench to sit down, and how he leans in his jean jacket, according to y'all, leans into Alandria for the reassurance, and then she puts her head on his shoulder for thanking him for saving her and everything else. Like I didn't know the level that Nicolandria was at. And just doing like a quick search, a couple of videos, and the deep dives that y'all do, I didn't realize it was this serious, y'all. I did not realize it was this serious and it was this bad that y'all are down for Nicolandria, y'all. To be honest, I hope y'all get y'all wish, but I don't know how this is going to go. I think this episode is important. On schedule, typically this coming week is supposed to be the tweet challenge as well as movie night, but nonetheless, I feel like a major part of movie night involves Jeremiah, so I don't know how they're going to play this. I would think they're going to want Taylor to show all of the ways that Taylor was never interested in Alandria, and I also think that they would also show a whole video clip of all of the ways that Nick has been into Alandria this entire time. Like, maybe for, you know, Taylor, it's like he's just not that into you, and then Nicolas is like, I'm secretly in love with you. I don't know, right? Like, or do different movie titles and things like that. So yeah, so that's all that I had for this video. No preview that they showed for tonight's episode, so I will be waiting like y'all for the first look to see if there's anything juicy in the first look, but we'll see what happens. But Nicolandria fans, I need to hear from y'all in the comments. I need to hear from y'all in the comments about these theories that people have that it is not over until it is over for Nick and Alandria. I need your guys' commentary. I really do. So there is that. That is it, and that is all for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.